Now we want to go into a panel discussion where we are going to focus on technology-facilitated gender-based violence and also child exploitation. So this focus, we want to foster dialogue and also the knowledge exchange on these stories and also the best practices that are there. At this point, I'd like to first of all start with the moderator to moderate this particular session. Ladies and gentlemen, from representing KICTANet, please help me appreciate Cherie Oyier as she comes forward. Okay, welcome Cherie. And she's going to be moderating this particular session. Cherie Oyier is a bit of French from Luo Nyanza. Okay, and then our panelists, ladies and gentlemen, from the Cybercrime Unit, National Police Service, please help me appreciate Simon Kipruto. Simon Kipruto, round of applause for Simon. Welcome, glad to have you, Simon. And from Mtoto News, ladies and gentlemen, help me appreciate Jennifer Kaberi as she comes to join us on the panel. Jennifer, we're glad to have you. And from the Communications Authority of Kenya, we have Caroline Murianki. Caroline, let's appreciate Caroline. Fantastic. Caroline, we're glad to have you, and thank you for your thought-provoking questions during this particular forum. And also on the panel, ladies and gentlemen, representing Meta Platforms, we have Sylvia Musalagani to come and join us. Sylvia, where are you? Let's appreciate Sylvia as she comes. And also now we have from FCDO UK Aid, we have none other than Charles Juma. Let's appreciate Charles Juma as he comes to join this particular panel. We're glad to have you. Cherie Oyier, over to you. And the panelists, welcome once again. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ian, and for everyone for sticking around until this time. And I want to also welcome my panelists as well. So this session is, we are talking about technology-facilitated gender-based violence and children exploitation. And if I could just provide some context, we want to talk about some of the knowledge exchange and success stories. So at KICTANet, we have worked on issues of technology-facilitated gender-based violence for a long time. I could pin it to maybe from 2007 when we were talking about issues of privacy and from a gender perspective. And I liked what Christine Schultz said in the morning, that for issues of technology, it's a never-ending loop because of the new advancements that we have. And even as we fight to minimize issues of technology-facilitated gender-based violence, we also realize that perpetrators are creative with every single day. But also we need to also share some of the success stories that you've done that we've had as well. So at KICTANet, of course, we have the 4 pillars that we work with, issues of research, for instance, that also inform our other pillars, such as policy advocacy, capacity building, and multi-stakeholder engagements. So last year we did a research that focused on technology-facilitated gender-based violence across the country, and we found that the numbers were very high. Around 54% of respondents had given feedback that they had experienced technology-facilitated gender-based violence. And now from this context, for instance, I just want to now throw it to my panelists, and I'll first go to Sylvia, and my first question to Sylvia would be, what collaborative efforts and partnerships have proven successful in tackling the challenges of digital safety, and how can stakeholders from different sectors, that is government, private sector, civil society, how can they work together more effectively to address these issues? Sylvia, you can go ahead.
Thank you so much, Cherie, and good afternoon, everyone. As introduced, my name is Sylvia Musalagani, and I am the head of safety policy at Meta, covering Africa, Middle East, and Turkey. And I'm part of a global team that focuses on addressing issues to do with safety of the experiences when it comes to safety of the people using our platforms. And so a lot of our work is focused on child safety, safety for women and other vulnerable groups, issues around human exploitation, suicide and self-injury, and other mental health and well-being issues. And so it's a pleasure to be back in this conversation after a very long time, having been a member of KICTANet for a very long time before I took up this role at Meta. And I think that you started off with a very important bit in terms of collaboration, because we know when it comes to online safety, it's not just a problem of platforms, it's not just a problem of governments or civil society. It's not siloed in how it happens. So it needs collaborative efforts to address the challenges when it comes to safety online. And I think it's important to really address what kind of challenges that we are dealing with. And we know we've had from the young people or the youth who attended the IGF, and also the children who attended the children's IGF, in terms of the opportunities that they see online, encouraging parents to also join this online platform. So we know online platforms provide opportunities for young people and even for us adults to engage, to find meaningful things to do. But at the same time, there are criminals out there who are trying to find ways to exploit these platforms. So when we're looking at issues around child online protection, a lot of the focus is really on identifying who these bad actors are and ensuring that we are responding to them. And as platforms, we've put in place community standards or policies to ensure that we are not allowing for harmful content that would impact on the safety of the people using our platforms, be it young people, children, be it, women. And we try as much as possible to ensure that our policies are also developing in relation to how the dynamic the harms are. And in that process, collaboration is very important. We do not do this on our own because we do realize that we are not the experts in everything. So when it comes to online safety issues, we have CSOs who are directly working with victims or survivors of technology-facilitated violence against women. We have law enforcement who take in the reports of, child online protection incidents. So it's important for us to ensure that we are having conversations and we are bringing them in when we are developing the policies to address these harms as they play out on our platforms. And this is something that my team is very intentional about. We currently have over 400 safety partners located all across the world. We have a safety advisory board that consists of experts who are working directly on these issues, and a youth safety advisory group, as well as a women's safety advisory group, just showing that we take the collaboration around addressing these issues very seriously. And the other bit, because I know we've talked a lot about policy, and these conversations also, navigate a lot around the policy and how they respond to this. But coming from a tech company, the technology to address these harms is also very important, and collaborating around these technologies is very important. So as Meta, we are part of what is called the Technology Coalition, and the Technology Coalition is a group of industry or companies that are aimed at fighting child online abuses. And so we've come together to share our technologies with each other, to share signals of what we are seeing on our platforms, so that, we are all united in addressing these issues. And that's on the child online protection space. And I would really like to see more on the space of technology-facilitated violence against women when it comes to collaborations around fighting the harms that, people who are using the platforms may face. But I can talk about also two important collaborations that I think are success stories in terms of collaborating both on the child online protection side, but also on the technology-facilitated violence against women. So first, to address self-generated images, and specifically those images that are created by minors, we partnered with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children to develop the Take It Down platform. This is a new platform that prevents young people from young people's intimate images from spreading online. and it uses meta technology to allow the user to hash the image on their device and report it directly to NICMIC. And NICMIC will then work with the technology companies to ensure that anytime someone is trying to share that image, they're not successful in doing this. And that's for the young people, but also for the adults. This TechICTAnet actually builds on the success of a tool that we had initially developed with the Southwest Grid for Learning, an organization that is based in the UK that addresses issues of non-consensual intimate images sharing. And so this technology that has built on that now enables adults to also report any threats of sharing of their non-consensual intimate images, and NCII will work with the participating platforms to ensure that we are responding or preventing these images from being shared online. So these are just two examples of successful collaborations between industry players, but also NGOs, and we even work very collaboratively with governments who sometimes send us these reports because they also have helplines who are receiving this report. So just to end my intervention is saying collaboration is very key when it comes to addressing online safety concerns, be it child online protection issues or technology facilitated violence against women. And this is something that Meta takes very seriously.
Thank you very much, Sylvia, for those insightful contributions. I totally agree with you on the issue of collaboration, and that just segues into the next question that I'll be directing to Jennifer. Jennifer, you work with children, and I know that this work cannot be done in silos, you know. So what are the key roles and responsibilities of different stakeholders in creating safe digital spaces from your work that you do?
Thank you so much, Cherie. Pleased to meet you at last year. So my name is Jennifer Kaberi. I work with Mtoto. Mtoto is a children's digital company. We leverage on technology to make children visible. We do this in 3 ways. We do this with content, where children create, curate, and circulate content by themselves. And then you provide participation platforms, both virtual and physical. And number 3, we do research around media, technology, and child participation. When I saw this question, I was like, stakeholders. What do we mean by stakeholders? So if you've lived in Kenya long enough, I'm just going to translate this. It's nyama choma, you know, goat eating party. Who are the people who are goat eating in this safety conversation? Okay? I will start with the soft meat. Okay? The soft meat is what in my community we used to give children. You know, the liver, you know, the heart. Okay? What is the liver here? These are the soft people. These are the people, the steak itself, okay? These are people who are nearest to the child, the humans, okay? These are family, parents, siblings, cousins, friends, okay? In this stakeholder conversation, okay? So these are teachers, okay? These are the human interaction. These are the people who provide, what do they provide? They provide values, okay? Values are taught at home. Values are taught by parents, and values never change, okay? So that is the role of parents, teachers, siblings, friends, okay? And that is their role, okay? If children don't have values, if children don't have principles which have been taught at home, then most probably we're going to be bad people online, okay? Because values never change, okay? And then we go to the next level. They are hard meat, okay? Which most people don't like because we need to chew it, okay? And these are policies. Who provides policies? Government. CSOs are the ones who support government, or they check government if they're doing that. So the next stakeholder here is government. And the work of government is to provide policy and enforce those policies, okay? And CSOs to ensure that these policies are being adhered to. But also the role of government is also to regulate, okay? And regulation is 2 ways. It's not just regulating that stakeholder who is industry, but also to regulate how how the country is or the governments are, okay? And then the third stakeholders is industry, okay? So industry is not Sylvia's team only. I'm talking about people who produce hardware, okay, and other sorts of softwares, okay? Okay, and the thing about industry, it's very tricky because it's the juicy meat, you know, the one that you never want to leave, the one that is right near the bone, you know, you go, oh, we don't want to leave, okay, the addictive nature of that meat. You know, have you ever gone to goat eating and you see this person is on that bone and they never want to leave it? That steak, it's just the T-bone itself, not the meat on the T-bone, just the T-bone, okay, because it's sweet, it's addictive. Okay? So, but how can we be able to put all this together to ensure that the child who is at the center is safe? Okay? We need to ensure that this goat is eaten or fed, whichever you want to look at it, in a manner that the child is at the center. The child does not suffer. So the role, again, values. Okay? The value that we cannot underestimate the role of parents, the role of teachers and educators, the role of communities in instilling values. Okay, we can teach all the safety measures. Industry can provide all sorts of tools for safety, but if these children don't have the values at home, they're still going to be harmed online or harmed online. Okay, so we need to ensure that we empower our parents to be able to parent digitally, okay? Because parenting never stops because of technology. Okay, we also need to provide that the family and the humans, let me just call the human stakeholder is able to provide a safety net, okay? Safety, yes, there is a red button, the 3 dots on our digital platform to report, but the best safety net to a child is a human. There's that human person that you can go run to and say, I am not feeling safe. I need this kind of support, okay? So are we providing that kind of human nature? And then regulations, okay? We need to have regulations that are not deterring innovation because we are still a very small industry. Of Jeff Bezos' school of thought, we are still in day one on technology. So we need to have regulations that do not curtail or limit innovations. Okay, but can be able to at the same time provide a way of safeguarding our children. Okay, KOSA, it's Kenya. The Kids Online Safety Act has just been passed in the US yesterday. It's going to change how we experience technology as Africans. Okay, yes, it's American, but you know, all the industries are in the US. So how ready are we to be regulated by the US? You saw what happened with GDPR. GDPR came and boofed everything. Same, KOSA has just been enacted yesterday, has just been passed yesterday, and as soon as the enactment happens, it's going to change a lot of stuff. Are we ready for that? And then tech. I will say something one of my mentors told me. It's a social issue, not a software issue. Okay? Have we taught our children how to interact with technology? Because most of the time, I'm going to say something very controversial, we teach our children to stay away from technology instead on how to live with technology. Okay? Have we trained our children how to live with technology, how to interact in technology, say in a way that it's part of their life and it's not interfering with their way of life? Okay? Thank you so much, Sheila.
Thank you, Jennifer, for that analogy of nyama choma and just painting that picture of a cascading responsibility from one sector and one stakeholder to another. Thank you very much for that. I think we will take that in mind so that we don't think it's just one stakeholder that is responsible. I like what you said about even from the parents, from the very close-knit, have responsibilities as well in terms of children, issues of protection of children online. And that takes me to the next panelist. So, Caroline, my next question is, what are the key policy and regulatory frameworks that are needed to create safe digital spaces and address the risk of digital transformation? We've seen issues of the fragmentation of the laws in this sector. Could you just expound on that?
Thank you very much, Madam Oyier. Indeed, this question is quite loaded in that there are two aspects to it. There is the need to create safer digital spaces and the need to address the risks of digital transformation. So with regards to creating a safer digital space, there is need to appreciate our lived experiences in this space. What do we see? What do we hear? What do we feel? I believe our previous presenters have actually shared with us, especially what is happening in the Kenyan online space. And what we've noted is that the discussions have now deepened, and people are now more focused in conversing on matters that are, substantive matters, as opposed to one person maybe tweeting and then the next tweet is an insult or something or rather. So we can see that there's been a significant change in the manner in which we are using and leveraging technology. So as we look at creating a safer digital space, there is need to appreciate the need for a whole ecosystem that supports this. We may not wholly rely on policy, but the regulatory framework needs to be supported by an ecosystem that would support this. What do I mean by this kind of ecosystem? We are looking at the need for policy and legislation. We have spoken about this quite extensively today. There is a plethora of legislation and statutes that attend to matters relating to ICT and regulation, from the Kenyan Constitution that speaks to the Bill of Rights, to the National ICT Policy that speaks to the direction through which Kenya is meant to achieve a digital transformation and be a digital economy, to the Kenya Information and Communications Act that speaks to regulation of the sector, to legislation that also speaks to cybersecurity aspects and entrenching trust within the sector and instilling consumer confidence, and that's enshrined in the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Act. The Data Protection Act also speaks to these matters and provides it provides for manner in which data is to be managed, shared, obtained, among other things. So with regards to policy and legislation, you can see that there is quite a lot. And when we look at matters relating to children, especially when it comes to policy and legislation, the Children's Act also has embedded in it provisions relating to online safety. You'll also appreciate that there are other legislation that address this matter. So let's continue to look into the whole ecosystem. There's the need for standards. From a regulatory perspective, there is need for the regulator to actually ascertain that service providers are providing services in a manner that meets certain standards and requirements. We do this through various means, having license conditions and certain guidelines. In this regard, when it comes to online safety issues, we have provisions within the licenses offered or issued to service providers with regards to that provide for privacy, data privacy, And further still, when it comes to child online protection and safety, the authority has developed draft guidelines on the same, and they're currently undergoing public consultation. Indeed, the matter that was raised earlier when it comes to public Wi-Fi has also been provided for in that proposed guideline, and we seek to extend the safety provisions from the licensed service providers to those who indeed provide those kind of services within public spaces, libraries and schools, among other platforms or areas. When we look at going back to the building of the ecosystem for a safer internet experience, we also need to appreciate the need for law enforcement. And the legislation referenced earlier would actually articulate the offenses that the offenses, if indeed those laws are breached. And I believe my colleague from law enforcement will delve deeper into that area. Within the regulatory framework, there is need for creation of awareness so that consumers can understand what their rights and responsibilities are, so that even children can be able to exercise their rights and freedoms within the digital space, and so that they can also participate actively within the digital economy by learning, playing their games, and engaging deeply on matters of their own interests. So awareness is a very important aspect when it comes to building this kind of regulatory framework. Another aspect is with regards to capacity building, and this should be a matter embedded within the system so that we can be able to ensure that the relevant stakeholders are empowered with the means to be able to attend to any challenges or harms that may come upon any users of communication services. For us to be able to also design or develop appropriate policies, there is need for research and understanding consumer behavior within the online space. And we have seen quite a lot of studies done in Kenya and globally, and we hope to leverage studies and surveys within Kenya to be able to better inform our policy development. I believe my colleague has also spoken to collaboration and partnerships and the need for consumer empowerment. I'll just conclude by saying that building a safer internet experience or enabling this within the sector would have to recognize some few principles, so to speak. One being the rights and responsibilities of children and users of technology. Another is the fact that child online protection and safety is everyone's responsibility, in that we have a role to play. All stakeholders have a role to play. And the best interest of the child should also be paramount in the design of solutions and in design of services that are offered to this category of stakeholders. A multi-stakeholder approach is something that has been mentioned numerous times today. And there's also need for commitment to online safety by those in the policy development phase, within the regulator, within the sector, and among all of us. Further, data protection and safety by design should be concepts that we should be, is a principle which we should rely on and actually entrench within our day-to-day operations. There is also need to empower consumers so that they are able to make informed purchase and use decisions. When we talk, I like the way Jennifer spoke about this matter being a lot more of a social issue as opposed to a technology issue. If we empower consumers to make right decisions, if we empower our users, our children, their parents, then they'd be able to make better choices combined with the values that they really hold dear to be able to steer children in the right way and the right manner. The last two principles are on transparency and accountability and the need to drive productive internet use. I think this has been underpinned by the engagements we've been having online. There's been a lot of debate.
Caroline, I'll ask you to wrap up
yes,
so that
yes.
we are out of time.
Yes, sorry, I'm sorry, I'll summarize my thesis. And the last one is on inclusivity in terms of ensuring that persons with disabilities have access to these services in a manner that is safe. And thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Caroline, and thank you just for running us through the different laws that are available. And that just takes me to the next panelist, Simon. I know that we have talked about the laws that are there, but also we have to take cognizance of some of these laws were enacted way before technology advanced to the level that we are at right now. So, and therefore, there's also issues of even capacity building that there are some gaps there. My question, therefore, is how can law enforcement agencies enhance their capabilities and collaborate with other stakeholders to effectively combat technology-facilitated gender-based violence and cyber and children exploitation while ensuring protection of individual rights and promoting safe civic space and online participation?
The National Police Service has different units that handle issues to do with technology-based gender violence, facilitated gender-based violence. At the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, we have the National Forensic Laboratory, which was around 13 different laboratories in it. Where I work and where I head is the Digital Forensics Laboratory, where we deal with the cell phones, the computers. We deal with the electronic evidence aspect of it. Then we have the anti-human trafficking and child protection unit that is based at South Sea here. Their work is to investigate all issues to do with transnational, human trafficking, to have a better word, human trafficking. And we also have a cybercrime investigations unit that also assists in the investigations of all these crimes. As my colleague from CAK as stated, we also collaborate with them in terms of enforcing the laws that are there. For the technology-facilitated gender-based violence, we have the premium law, the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Act 2018, which has several aspects or several laws that are defined there. Some of it could be, you have child pornography, you have inducement to deliver electronic messages, then you have the wrongful distribution of obscene and intimate images. When it comes to distribution of obscene or intimate images, the biggest challenge we have currently is that we have the threshold or the number of people reporting such crimes is not as we would have expected. We see them online every day. We see abuse images of women online, but how many report to the police? Could it be that we don't receive the complaints as expected, or it's an issue of fear of being maybe exposed? So those are some of the challenges that maybe with KICTANet we can come up with ways or means of maybe enlightening police officers to handle the customers at the police station better, or also in encouraging the victims to report, because a case reported, a case investigated, a case prosecuted, that's a success story, and it tends to be a warning to those people who perpetrate such crimes. we have international collaborations in terms of our capacity building. We have the regional bureau, the Interpol regional bureau, which is based at the DC headquarters, and we also have the national central bureau. What happens is that Interpol is an interconnection of police services all over the world. The headquarters is in Lyon, France. And what happens is that when there's a case that we are being given hints in terms of crimes that happen in Kenya, of which we've not been able to identify it locally, they normally send us intelligence through the National Central Bureau. Once it comes to the National Central Bureau, we're able to handle it. We also have the collaboration with ICMEC, the International Center for Missing and Exploited Children. One of their hints led us to arrest one Cherie Oyier, an American missionary who was abusing our children in those parts of Ngong. Was arrested and was jailed for 55 years. Those are some of the success stories we have. The government has also deployed tools and technologies at the National Forensic Laboratory, the Digital Forensics Lab. We have a set of the latest tools that we use for exploitation of gadgets, preparation of reports, and giving testimony in court. I wasn't able to come in the morning because I was giving testimony in court on one of the cases. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Simon, and we will take you up with that offer of collaborating to empower law enforcement authorities in terms of issues, technology, facilitated gender-based violence. We're still on issues capacity building. I'll go to Charles, and my question is, what role do education and awareness campaigns play in promoting safe digital spaces, and how can these initiatives be designed to effectively reach and engage diverse populations? Charles, you'll have less than 4 minutes. And also, I'll also encourage from the audience, if you have any questions, please go to the Slido platform and maybe just indicate which panelist you're directing your question to. Charles, go ahead.
Thank you so much, Oyier. My name is Charles Juma. Maybe I'll not need all the 4 minutes. So I'm the advisor and the country lead of the Digital Access Program of the UK government based at the British High Commission here in Nairobi. So all of you are very familiar with the UK government's Digital Access Program. It's about catalyzing affordable, inclusive, safe, secure digital access for excluded populations, especially women, persons with disabilities, young people, people of age as well. So in the interest of time, I'll also encourage you to look at our UK government's digital development strategy of 2024 to 2030, which is continuing the work of the Digital Access Program up to 2030, and we will be implementing that strategy. So some statistics around these conversations have been around, a man has 22.7 times or chances to earn a job in tech sector as compared to a woman. 2.7 times a man can land that job versus a woman. 85% of women globally have witnessed or experienced online violence. And 20%, in a study that was done in 13 countries, 20% of the children in those countries indicated that they suffered online sexual abuse. For more information, look at our strategic plan. It's available online. It focuses on digital transformation, digital inclusion, and a whole chapter on digital responsibility and digital sustainability. So using Jennifer's analogy of the nyama choma, I would just say, for you to implement any successful program, I would use the analogy of the ugali. When you're going to prepare ugali, our mothers made sure that the cooking stones have not been laid on. There is firewood, at least for those times when there was no gas in the village. There was water, there was flour. I don't know what else our mothers required to make sure that the ugali and the cooking, whatever is required, even the cooking stick. So I think I'll say that is the approach we take as UK government when we are supporting digital development projects, that everything is integrated. I think the conversation has been around intentional integration. That is the message, so that it's not siloed interventions. You don't just do skills for no reason. You don't just do digital services for no reason. You just don't do infrastructure for no reason. But you just need to integrate all these ingredients into one program. And at the center of it is the online safety and cybersecurity awareness. That's what I would say has been our experience. It has been very successful. KICTANet has been one of our implementing partners. And on the cyber hygiene perspective, the multiple stakeholder engagement has been a great strength that has made us succeed in the project that we've implemented, and therefore the multiple dimensional approach to delivering these solutions. That's how I can summarize it, and happy to take any questions, but encouraging delegates to visit the website and access our strategy and reach out to me directly in case you have any follow-up questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Charles, for keeping time and for those insights. Thank you for even bringing that perspective of the fact that women are the most at risk, yet they're the least represented in the sector. I don't know if you have any questions on Slido. If you do not, then I'll give each panelist 30 seconds to do their call to action. I'll start with Sylvia.
Yeah, no, thank you. And this was a very interesting conversation. Great to hear from the colleagues on the floor, on the other panelists. Sorry, and you know, I think the bit on collaboration as was the intervention I was asked to respond to is very, very important, and we've seen it can be successful when applied in the right ways. I think one area where I've seen a lot of gaps in collaboration is in the legislative front. And I say that because as Jenny mentioned, we have the COSA Act in the US, which, you know, a lot of stakeholders came in to ensure that it has come through. And yes, it will apply to the companies as we are we are based in the US, you know, like we're headquartered in the US, but we still have to be intentional on the regulations that we are developing in the region, because a lot of the issues that we are facing, especially with regards to technology facilitated violence against women, are very contextual. And so we have to ensure that we have, you know, the policy and legislative frameworks that take in our context into account. So I would still encourage collaboration around building policy and legislative frameworks that, you know, aim to solve these issues as they impact us. And, you know, very, very appreciative of inviting myself and just Meta to be a part of this conversation. And I look forward to engaging even more with you.
Thank you so much, Sylvia. Thank you so much, Sylvia. Simon, your 30 minutes, your 30 seconds.
Okay, thank you. Mine will just be a call to everybody here. Take the message home. Fighting technology crimes requires collaboration between law enforcement and the public. Once you make a report to any police station or any DCI office, we'll pick it up and follow it up. You can also take advantage of the feature, which is toll-free. You don't need to disclose your details, just report your crime, and we'll be able to handle it. Let's fight this monster together. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think my parting remarks will be that the regulator has been on this since 2011. We have over 40 partners, but we're actually looking for more so that we can deepen our collaboration and broaden some of the initiatives that we've been having over the years, so that we can be able to conclude. Out of the 17 or so projects under the authority's Child and Online Protection and Safety Program, there are others that have been concluded and others that are still in the process. And we look forward to increased collaboration with relevant stakeholders so as to actualize this and create a safer internet experience for all. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think my call to action is to just borrow from KICTANet's strength, the convening strength of multiple stakeholder, multiple dimensional. If it's working, don't fix it. So let's work from a multiple perspective, multiple stakeholder, multiple dimensional, and be intentional. Now that we're in the society, our society is dubbed to be Society 5.0.
Thank you so much. I work with children, so I'm going to do another analogy. It does take a village, okay? And every person in the village has a responsibility. According to me, KICTANet is that, remember that auntie that was always on your business, will beat you on behalf of your mother. You understand? So I think let's play that role, okay? Civil society, we're that auntie, okay, or that overzealous uncle, okay? Let us be that to children, okay? Let's hold government accountable, but all hold ourselves accountable as we hold the industry accountable. Thank you.
Thank you so much, panelists. Thank you so much. You've been a wonderful audience. And if you could just have a word cloud for everything to sum up, collaboration, community standards, multi-stakeholderism, values, non-deterring regulation, safeguards. Tech is a social issue, not a software issue. Awareness creation, understanding consumer behavior. I've also learned digital forensic labs and so many other things. I'm so grateful for this conversation, and I hope we continue to work together to create safer spaces online. Thank you very much.